It's mathematics time! Have you watched our previous lesson? How was it? Did you understand? In today's video, we will learn how to convert fractions into decimals. But before that, let us define first what is fraction. Fraction is parts of a whole, and decimal is also parts of a whole. How about number? A number can be shown as a decimal and as a fraction. Now, let us watch and learn how to convert fractions to decimals. Thank you!
Decimals to fractions, part 1. Now that you've gone through your fractions unit, I want to introduce the next step. Fractions are parts of a whole, and decimals are also parts of a whole. A number can be shown as both a decimal and a fraction. Changing between decimals and fractions is a must-have math skill, and it's easy to do. We use our place value knowledge. Here's a place value chart. The decimal point goes here. On the left of the decimal is where we put our whole numbers. And on the right of the decimal is where we've got our fractional parts. The first column is tenths, then we've got hundredths and thousandths and so on. If I have a value, we can put it into the place value chart. Line up the decimal point and then it's 1 digit per column. There is only 1 digit after the decimal point and it's sitting in the tenths column. So 0.3 is the same as 3 tenths because the 3 is in the tenths column. Easy. The digits after the decimal point become your numerator. And to find the denominator, just think through your tenths, hundredths and thousandths columns. Let's do some examples. OK, the numerator is 7. There's only one figure after the decimal point. It's in the tenths column. 0.7 is 7 tenths. 0.23. This is 23 over something. Now we get the denominator. First column is tenths. Second column is hundredths. We have 23 hundredths. Here we've got 3 figures after the decimal point. We don't even really need to use a chart at all, do we? 391 is our numerator. Just name the columns to find the denominator. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. 391 over 1000. OK, what about this number? 5.3. Well, we know what to do with the decimal part, but how about that 5? Remember, to the right of the decimal point are fractions of a whole one, and to the left of the decimal point you've got whole numbers. It's a whole number and a fractional part. This value is going to be a mixed number. 5 whole ones here. 0.3 tells us our numerator is 3, and as we only have a single digit after the decimal point, that means tenths. 5 and 3 tenths. OK with that? Great stuff. Last one. 12.79. 12 whole ones. And here, 79 is our numerator. Name the decimal columns to find the denominator. Tenths, hundredths. See, you can easily change from decimals to fractions. Next, you're going to do some for yourself. And then there's just a little bit more to put into place. But first, get confident with this. See you next time for that last little bit.
Did you do some exercises? Let us continue to watch the part 2 in converting fractions to decimal. so that we can understand its methods. Are you ready? Thank you.
Decimals to fractions, Part 2. We know that to change a decimal number into a fraction, the decimal part becomes our numerator. Our numerator is going to be 25. For the denominator, we think through our decimal place value columns. Tenths, hundredths. We have 25 hundredths. And now we've come to that final step I mentioned last time. Remember when we studied fractions, we said that we always have to show the answer in its lowest terms. We reduce a fraction as far as possible. Well, 25 is a factor of 100. We have to reduce this fraction. There's one group of 25 here, and there's 4 25s in 100. We can see that 0.25 is the same as 25 over 100, and that's equal to 1/4. Now let's do a bigger one. We have digits before the decimal point, whole numbers. Put those 14 whole ones in right away. Now your decimal value is the numerator in the fraction, and we go through the columns: tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Look at those values. 25 is a factor of each. Pick a strategy for how to reduce. Calculator if you can. If not, use pen and paper for division, or break your numbers into chunks. I'm going to chunk this problem. That lets me use logic like this. 625 can be broken down into 6 lots of 100 and 25. In each 100 there are 4 lots of 25. Multiply that 4 by 6 because we've got 6 hundredths, and that gives us 24. And there's one more group of 25 to include. We have 25 for our numerator. Now for 1000, that's 10 lots of 100. In each 100 there are 4 groups of 25, so multiply that 4 by 10, and that gives me 40. 25 and 40 are both in the 5 times table, so we can reduce again. 25 is from 5 fives, and in 40 there's 8 fives. We can see that 14.625 is equal to 14 and 5/8. Keep in mind, different people might choose different values to reduce by. I could have started with 5, and that's okay too. Go with the biggest number you can spot as a factor and just keep on reducing till you can't reduce any more. And that's all you need to know to change from decimals to fractions. Always remember to reduce that fraction to its lowest terms and you'll do great. Now let's do math. And next time we'll go the other way, from fractions to decimals.